Take Me to Prom is a documentary produced and directed by Andrew Moir. It was first shown in 2019 and is roughly 20 minutes in length. The concept of this short documentary is succinctly put in the tagline. It's true queer stories from 7 generations of prom. It is an exploration of the relationship that the people of the queer community have with the promenade dance, how strained it is, and how it's changed over time. To follow Bill Nichols' documentary modes, Take Me to Prom primarily fits the expository mode. Its truth is conveyed primarily through anecdotes of the interviewed subjects and archival footage. The message is not as clear as other films in this mode, but it is still clearly trying to emotionally educate by highlighting the experiences of a minority group. One of the main features that weakens a purely expository reading of the film is its use of poetics in its style. A lot of the style choices involved in the poetic mode are used here to support the narratives being conveyed. A lot of this work is done by the set design and the sound editing, creating a lot of imagery and using onomatopoeia. We also get a taste of the performative in the final moments. In the last couple of minutes, we see a performative sequence of the interviewed people with whom we have gone on an emotional journey with. While the information is delivered in the expository mode, the core concept is highly emotional and difficult to explain. This is why there is this sudden dive into the performative as the final thought of the film, because it highlights the themes of the human experience and it gives us a sentiment rather than a message. It is hard to immediately recognise this as expository though, because while a feature-length documentary has the time to blend multiple modes and place them in a hierarchy, Take Me to Prom over its 20 minutes becomes a thorough mixture, obscuring the modes with one another. This is because mode is an interpretation of the product, not the creative process itself. The concept of a film is easiest to define because it's the foundation of the documentary. It is the idea that puts the text into motion. Style is the tool of expression that the filmmaker uses to convey the concept. It is the wielding of cinematic language to speak truth, and it's not just the product of the auteur. A documentary style is the culmination of director, editor, cinematographer, researcher, and in Take Me to Prom's case, the set and costume designer. Mode is made from filmmaking choices and categorizes in a similar way to genre. In the same way that genre film will have certain features akin to its genre, a documentary will have aspects that it shares with other films made in the same mode. Each mode is propelled forward by these features and goals, and is therefore often determined by the concept and the style of the film. This may further explain why Take Me to Prom seems stuck between the expository and other modes. Celine Rouston states that Andrew Moir usually works closely with the observational mode, and that this documentary was an active attempt to experiment in challenging himself with a more scheduled and planned approach. This is the problem with the theories of modes. It is simultaneously too vague to be meaningful and too specific to be universally applicable. Granted, it was never intended to be that modes be exclusive, but they end up being so because of the way that they are defined. The lenses of film theory exist separate to the mechanics of filmmaking. Modes cannot be separated in this way. Take Me to Prom would have little to add to the conversation of participatory film, participatory mode. On the other hand, a film with no female characters would still be analysed in feminist theory because the mechanics do not dictate the discussion. A mode serves more as a justification than as a lens. It does not promote explorative discussion, but it confines films to boxes. This is why Take Me to Prom is the film that it is. It was a film made by someone trying to move away from the observational mode, and they ended up landing in a space that's really in between. It wasn't made to be one particular mode, and discussing it in such language seems belittling and rudimentary.